Welcome everyone to this special session with Pillai Center Teacher Gina, who will be sharing her personal experience of being overtaken by Narasimha, the fierce lion man avatar of Vishnu. And she'll be sharing the unfolding of her beautiful journey with him, which is really the path of becoming Narasimha herself. So this is a very powerful time to connect with Narasimha, as the Golden Age just started on April 22nd with Jupiter's transit into Aries. And Dr. Pillai has declared that Narasimha is a key archetype of the Golden Age. He's a performer god who acts very swiftly, and he can accelerate you on the path of your highest evolution, which is really becoming the divine being that you are. And Narasimha is a perfect role model. So Gina wanted to tell her story at this time because Narasimha has been communicating urgent messages to her for everyone. And those messages are very timely, as he's readily available to help us remove the key karmas and negativities that are holding us back. So after Gina tells her story, she will share her messages from Narasimha, and she will give simple steps that you can take to start your path of becoming Narasimha. So Gina, let's start at the beginning of your journey. Tell us about the first time that Narasimha entered your body.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that introduction and welcome everyone. This session is dear to my heart because it is an opportunity for everyone to get to know and embrace Narasimha and understand the power that he has and the impact that he can have on your life right now, not tomorrow, today, immediately. And so I want to share my story in order to help inspire you, because I had no relationship with Narasimha. So what happened first time that he kind of came to, actually, the first time that I had any acknowledgement of his presence was on Narasimha's birthday when Dr. Pillai recorded the program on his birthday. I don't remember what year that was, and the course is in the academy. It's the first one we ever did, and I saw Narasimha kind of appear behind Dr. Pillai in a kind of energy form. It was just like this enormous head was behind Dr. Pillai, and Dr. Pillai was now delivering the message. That wasn't a live session, that was recorded. Dr. Pillai just spontaneously decided to create that program on the birthday. So we didn't even have it as a live stream. So that was the first time I kind of sensed him. I'm like, oh, wow, this is a very powerful being. And then, so then after that, Dr. Pillai started to do some fire labs and more worship of him. I hadn't even really known anything about Narasimha. And one fire lab Dr. Pillai performed at the house, it was during Pradosham, so 13th moon, which is a special power time for Narasimha that Dr. Pillai told us about. And Dr. Pillai was doing the fire lab, and I was just sitting there meditating, listening to the chants. And then all of a sudden I kind of felt this like huffing sound, like this being, and I was like, oh, that's weird. And then I saw these flames around me. And at the time, I also had no idea that Narasimha was represented by fire. And so it just felt, when he comes, his energy is very, what's the word? Like very, for lack of a better word, powerful, but urgent and like immense and just like active. And he just wants to like do things and create, and very fierce. And so I was feeling all this through me, and I just sat there quietly. And then what I felt from the being was that he just wanted to also go and bow to Dr. Pillai's feet. And I was like, oh, how beautiful. Like, he's so devotional as well as mighty and fierce. So those are the first couple scenarios. Another time in India, Dr. Pillai was focusing on Rama, the god Rama, and he had us get these shalograms, like these natural formed rocks. And I went to the store with my friends to purchase a Rama hologram, because that's what Dr. Pillai was doing. He was all about Rama at the time, the mantra, the Mula mantra. And so I went there, and everyone had picked out theirs, and there was 2 left. And one was really tiny and I didn't really like it. And this one was the other one that was left after everyone selected theirs. And the shopkeeper said, well, this one is Narasimha. And I was like, oh, it's not Rama? Because that's what I was looking for. I was looking for a Rama rock. He's like, no, this is Narasimha. And he's like, look, if you look inside, I don't know if we can show this, but you can't really see it. If you look inside, there's like fangs. So I was like, oh, okay. I took it. I'm like, I got a Narasimha, like, and it had nothing, and meant nothing to me at the time. Now I understand that it's more rare to find a Narasimha rock, and that's one of the ways he came to me as well. Then we fast forward to a time where I just arrived in India. Do you want me to tell all the stories?
Yes, please. These are the key moments I know. It's so beautiful that he came to you. You weren't even calling on him.
Exactly. And I think that's what was so interesting or befuddling to me, because I was just like, I was praying to all different gods. I prayed to Ganesha. I was praying to Krishna for years. And then who came would be Narasimha. So I was always taken back by it. So another time someone asked me, I arrived in India. It was like 3 a.m. I had just showered, got into bed, and I was just falling asleep. And someone came into my room and said, I was told divinely that to come here and for you to heal me. And I was like, what? I don't know what you're talking about. I've just arrived. I'm like, okay. So I just trusted the process. I sat up, she laid on my bed, and I put my hands on her body and I closed my eyes and I prayed. In the past, if I've closed my eyes and prayed, I'll see the eyes of someone who comes in. If I were to try and heal or be some conduit for healing, Ganesha would always come, and I would see his beautiful kind of eyes. And so this time I was assuming Ganesha would come. So I was praying to Ganesha because he's my go-to for healing. And he didn't come, but instead I saw these little beady eyes, and I was like, oh, who's this? And then I felt my hand feel like a claw, and I was like, oh, okay, this is not Ganesha. And I just sat there and I just kept my hand on her and I just prayed. And then at some point, that was over. The next day, someone said to me, he was channeling, and he has ability to channel. And he said, Lakshmi Narasimha came one day, and I was like, oh, I think that's who was with me last night. Like it was only until he said that I made the connection of who it could be. Because at the time I really was just like, oh, okay. So then I'm like, oh, I think that's who it was. So I logged that, and then I'm like, okay, it seems like this being is trying to, come into my life in some way. And when I do focus on him, there's just so much love, and there's so much compassion, and there's so much energy. So we were on the same trip when I arrived in India that night that I was asked to do a healing. We went to see a Karpasami channel, and I asked for a mantra at that point to help facilitate the Lakshmi Narasimha energy. And he was like, are you sure? Because it's really powerful, and I don't know that if you can handle it. And I was like, okay, now I'm scared. So anyway, he gave me the mantra. I got permission from Dr. Pillai to do the mantra. And then I started chanting it continuously for a number of, I forget how long it was, weeks or so. And nothing was really happening. I was, getting some energy, connecting with him more, falling in love with him. And then we had this trip, I believe it was Skandashasti, and Dr. Pillai was there, and that Mohini, you were there, right? So a lot was happening in this session, and the channel, the Karpasami channel, was asking some people to come up, and he was empowering them to be possessed. And I see him up, and I'm kind of back in the crowd, and I see him up there, and he's talking to Dr. Pillai, and they're talking in Tamil, so I don't know what they're saying. And all of a sudden I hear Lakshmi Narasimha, and I was like, oh no, don't call on me. Like nothing's happening. Nothing's going on. So I'm just still like hanging back in the crowd. And then other people are going up and getting having experiences and being possessed, and beautiful, energies and messages coming through them. So I'm just enjoying that. And then I move aside to the different place in the crowd. I'm leaning against the table, and I start feeling this electricity come through my body. Now, mind you, I was like completely not planning, logically, nothing was occurring that I would want to or go up, there or be possessed in any way. So, but all of a sudden I start feeling this electricity come through my body, and I was like, oh my goodness. So I leaned against the table and I held the table with my hands, and I started just feeling it all come through, all this electricity just through the body. And then all of a sudden my hands just started going like this, scratching the table. And as I'm scratching the table, I feel Narasimha more and more come into my body. And now I'm just like, oh my God. Like, so my logical mind and the possession is like kind of side by side. And I'm like, okay, well, let's just let it happen. This is the safest space you'll ever be in. So I feel this energy going through, and then all of a sudden, like, he just comes in and he's like, last thing I remember is just being like this, like going like this. And then someone pulls me up into the circle with the reader. And that's when I kind of lost body consciousness in terms of like what was going on. Narasimha was definitely there. He said some things, and I don't even remember what he said right now. But one thing I do remember is that he was using his claws to remove karma from the people in the crowd. And so he's very much about the claws, right? So there's these significance and these symbolisms of this being that are very significant in how this energy gets transmitted to you, and also how it's used. So that's one of the things I'll talk more about in the sacred theater that Dr. Pillai has asked us to do. So that's the main kind of possession that happened. He came in another couple times in a lesser, kind of lesser volume of his power. And then more so what happens now is just like beautiful messages or things that he has to say. And this has all been triggered, this webinar has been triggered by Dr. Pillai gave a initiation into Narasimha on his birthday just a few days ago. And I've been hosting 7 days of 2 days of prep, and then, the rest of the days of kind of continuing to allow people to get to know him more, immerse more in him. And through those, the energies and the messages and the prayers that have been coming have been very spot on. In fact, someone mentioned yesterday, I did a prayer during the little mini fire lab, and someone was like, what you said was exactly what I needed. It's exactly what I want him to do and what I need. So he's just, he's so compassionate and he's so loving, but he's completely ferocious. And he is not your typical, benevolent god or goddess who is more calm, more perhaps pleasing to the eyes. He's drenched in blood. I keep looking over here because his picture is over here. One of the things we're going to do is go through the symbolism of all of this, in the sacred theater, so that you can fully get into what it means. And so he's not for everyone. If blood and kind of gore and destruction of that capacity is not something you're comfortable with, then he's just not your guy. And that's okay. There are plenty of gods and goddesses who are, much more nurturing and benevolent, and that's fine. But what makes him unique is that he will react to urgency. He's a fast acting divine being. So I think I answered your question. Thank you, Mohini.
And Gina, can you just tell us, because the idea of getting possessed can be scary for some people. So thank you for being so brave to share your story, because I know that that's a very intimate experience. And regarding the fact that he has a gruesome appearance, can you talk about your inner experience of his profound love? Because I know that many people, when they hear Dr. Pillai chanting the Narasimha mantra, and I myself, when we started the webinar and we played the mantra that Dr. Pillai chants so beautifully, I was in tears, and it was a little bit hard to start the program. So can you talk about the profound love which is behind the appearance?
Yeah. So one of the things Dr. Pillai had said was he's so, like he said, Dr. Pillai said this to me one time. He goes, he's ugly because he takes the ugly from people. And I was like, he's not ugly. So, but the what's behind, sorry, I keep looking over. That's why. So what's behind this appearance is a being so full of compassion that he will immediately show up to save you, to help you, to bring you what you want. And if you look at the story of Prahalad, the little boy who calls upon him, he has no faith. His faith is completely unwavering. And he has such a deep love and devotion for him. And Narasimha appeared immediately. So Narasimha didn't need to take a birth. He didn't need to grow up. He appeared as that being already. That's what makes him that fast acting God. And that's where I feel the root of his compassion is, and love and protection, that you meet him there. You meet him with your love for him. That's what Prahalad did, right? And then he just doesn't hold back. Like he arrived for Prahalad and destroyed the demon who was trying to kill him, who tried to kill the boy. And Narasimha left nothing on the table, right? Like there was nothing left. He just appeared out of the pillar and destroyed that demon immediately. And that is driven by love and compassion. That's it. He wouldn't do it for anything else. And he doesn't want anything else from you. He wants your time. He wants your love. He wants your devotion. He doesn't need money. He doesn't need, things. He just wants your love. And his immense compassion. Yeah, that's what his driver, I think. I'm just going by what I sense. I haven't even read many of the stories around him or know that much. But going by what I sense is that he's deeply devotional. He's an embodiment of compassion, and he wants to be there for you now. And what you do is you show up and you meet him there, right? You meet him with your love and compassion, or not even compassion, just your love and your devotion. So
that's beautiful. So can you share more of the messages? I know that we sent out an audio yesterday with a beautiful message from Narasimha, but if we could hear that directly from you about the urgency and how he wants to help people now.
Yeah. So what I've been getting lately is, and it was interesting because I had these feelings prior to Dr. Pillai's initiation on his birthday. I kept getting like, it's urgent, like whatever issue you have in your life that you've tried to change, you've tried to cope with, you've used your human abilities to deal with, that is what he wants to help you with. And that's the urgency, because maybe we have, hundreds of problems, but there's really just one or two that is like top of the list. Like, okay, it's enough. I've had enough of this. It's like when you get to the end of your rope. And so I was kind of getting these messages, and then Dr. Pillai said it in the initiation as well. He said, he's angry. He's angry. This is enough, right? Like, so I'm like, yeah, that's what I've been sensing. Like, he's angry. This is enough. Like, why are people why are we as people, humans, allowing this suffering to occur? Why are we so attached to our suffering? Why are we perpetuating a certain reality that isn't serving us, that is making us miserable, in fact, and hurting ourselves or people around us. That is what he wants to come and change. That's the urgency. The urgency is in you, right? And so looking inside of like, what part of your life right now have you been dealing with or putting up with, I should say, that it just shouldn't be anymore. And it becomes it's a psyche, right? Like it's part of our psyche that where we've adapted to it. We feel like it, maybe we don't deserve to have that gone away, or maybe we don't feel like it's not possible. We've lost faith in it, that this, issue should perpetuate. And Narasimha is like, no, you deserve better. This is not acceptable. This is our life right now. This is time to change. And Dr. Pillai has announced that Narasimha is one of the golden age archetypes because he's fast action, because he can destroy negativity, destroy demons. Demons are, that sounds like a dark or scary word, but it's anything. It's anything like the disease that you have in your body. It's a bad relationship. It's just feeling lethargic, right? Like all of these things can be considered or called demons. And that's what Narasimha destroys. So that's the urgency. The urgency is you've been living too long with an issue in your life that you've been putting up with, and it's time to stop that. Like it's done. We're done. We're done. And Narasimha's like, okay, we're done. So his energy just comes in really strong like that. Like he's just not wanting to have you wait anymore. Like, why are you waiting? It's urgent. It's an emergency that you are, it's an emergency that you need to tend to. It's like you're bleeding out, right? Like stop letting you just bleed out. Like he's like, what are you dealing with? So I keep repeating myself, but that's the message. The message is there are one or two things in your life that are at that caliber. And that is what he wants you to bring to him. And when you bring that urgency to him with total faith, then he can totally clean it up. So that's where you bring your urgency and your issue and your faith, and you lay it at his feet, and then he does the work.
So that urgency would be coming from Narasimha's energy. And so can you give people a few steps today that they can take, whether they've joined Dr. Pillai's initiation recently or seen some of his videos, but starting from today, how can they embody Narasimha and feel that tremendous power and urgency that it's possible now. I can change my life now.
Right. Yeah. So the first step is to embrace him and ask him to come in, right? So inviting him. And you can do that through a few ways. So one, I would use his image. And as I mentioned before, if the image kind of is hard for you to take in, then one, either he's just not your guy, or it's something for you to get over. It's something for you to get past and rise to the challenge of, okay, I'm maybe I have some certain preconceived notions of how scary this looks or how gruesome this looks, and I don't want to look at it. But in reality, this is your life. In reality, this is your demon. This is you over here in devotion, hopefully. And then this is Narasimha being your savior and destroying your demons to save your life. And once we get this image as relatable and reality for us, life does get gruesome, right? What is your suffering any less pretty than this? No, it's not. Your suffering is this. Maybe you're just not willing to look at it. In which case, maybe it's time to look at it. Maybe it's time to look at how much you're suffering and how much you're allowing your life to be, how much you're willing to let yourself bleed out in life. Like how much we're bleeding out every day in our misery, in our own lack of compassion for ourselves and for others, and allowing suffering to continue to happen. That's what this is. And if you have a hard time looking at this, maybe there's denial, right? Maybe there's some denial in place. But that's what I, am coming to understand and love about this image so much, is that it is our life. It is our life. And yet we connect with this being. We connect with this being, the one has all these weapons, the one who has a crown. He's royal. I think he's beautiful, right? He's protecting. He has these snakes, Adi Shesha, the snakes that who can protect. All of these weapons. This is the being you want on your side, right? In order to deal with this, in order to remove that suffering, in order to then be the full embodiment of Prahlad, which is purity, which is abundance, which is you don't need anything else if you have God. Look at the boy, this innocent, beautiful boy here is wanting to put a garland of flowers over Narasimha as Narasimha's destroying the demon. He's not phased that this was his father and that now he's completely covered in blood and Narasimha has his intestines around his neck, right? He's not phased by that because he's only focused on the Lord. And when we only focus on the Lord, this is what can happen. The Lord can do our work for us. The Lord can do our work for us. And that's what Narasimha is going to do. So first is to make your connection with him and do so by having pictures. You can have a statue if you want. You don't need that. We have beautiful statues. We have beautiful statues. They're 5 metal statues that you can purchase. So picture, statue, just something that's a 3-dimensional way for you to relate to him, to bring this relatability into your life. So that's one. Okay, inviting him and having some 3-dimensional form that you can look at and embrace. The second is to hear his words, hear his sounds. And this is the mantra that Dr. Pillai recently gave. In fact, there should be a link below this video where you can get that mantra. And it's a new mantra, and it's so beautiful because Dr. Pillai didn't know we were recording him. He just closed his eyes and started singing the Ukram Biram and then adding the English translation to it. And I just slid the recorder over and recorded, because that's what made it so special to me, I think, is because it was Dr. Pillai's own praise of Narasimha. And then after Dr. Pillai opened his eyes back up, he said it's really important to understand what the words are saying, understand what that prayer is. And so that's what you can receive, the Sanskrit and then English in Dr. Pillai's voice. So you want to invite him, you want to have some sort of 3-dimensional form that helps you relate to him and understand him and connect with him. You want to hear the mantra continually, and then you want to pray. And this is where the urgency of what would you like to have removed right now from your life? What would you like to have destroyed? What is needed at this moment? And then you pray fervently, you always be praying, right? So those are the steps to bring Narasimha into your life. And I would love to hear how it goes, because I think everyone has a different experience. On these sessions that I've been doing with the folks in our program, several people have said that they've had breakthroughs, right? The one person said, I was in deep depression. I didn't know what to do. I started chanting Narasimha. The next day I felt good. Another person had a physical ailment in their back. They imagined Narasimha come through them, and all of a sudden the pain was gone. Another person said she had been working, she didn't tell me exactly what it was, but working on some sort of persistent issue that's been in her life. And then this week it got resolved. So miracles are happening. The miracles are happening. We've been meeting every day for 6 days. Tonight's the 7th day. And that's what Narasimha can do.
That's beautiful. And I just wanted to share briefly too, that your experience of Narasimha may be different than what Lakshmi shared. So be open to any way that he comes to you. I just wanted to share briefly that I've heard Dr. Pillai's mantra for Narasimha many times, but about 2 weeks ago, Ronnie did a program on religion of religions on Narasimha. And I was listening to the program, the mantra was playing, and I deeply fell in love with Narasimha. And I'm an ardent devotee of Lord Vishnu, absolutely, for at least 20 years of my life. But in just a split second, I felt like I had found my beloved again. So that was my experience. It's different for everyone. So be open, because as Gina shared, she was not calling upon him. He had the love and compassion to come to her. And just like 2 weeks ago, he came to me in a very profound way that I've never experienced him before. And that's because this is his time. So be open, and it will be a beautiful experience. So now, Gina, tell us, you've been alluding to the sacred theater that you are going to lead people through. I think they don't know about that yet. We have 3 days planned of a progressive, very powerful event. Dr. Pillai initiated the experience of sacred theater on our Skanda Shasti trip in India, maybe was that 5 years ago? And ever since that time, he always wanted to create more sacred theater experiences where in India, sacred theater is part of the village tradition of India, where the villagers will act out the stories of the divine beings. And we met with a man who played Narasimha in a grand theatrical event every year. And he was explaining to us that it's a very profound spiritual experience. When he prepared himself with mantras and chanting and meditation and puts on the mask, when he would enter into the sacred theater, he literally became Narasimha. And he was 100% overtaken. And everything was done by Narasimha. The whole performance was Narasimha coming through that man. So he was explaining to us that it was his worship. It was his deepest worship of Narasimha. So Dr. Pillai has been wanting to bring sacred theater to people all over the world so that they can have the most profound and intimate experience of any god or goddess by acting out and stepping into the role of becoming that god or goddess themselves. And it has to be acted out as a drama. So that's what Gina will be leading you through. And I would like her to talk about that in her own words.
Yeah, so this will be new for me at least. And the first step we'll do is to identify what that urgent need is. I was just looking at the chat on YouTube and someone said, I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm right now, or like have something I have an urgent need for right now. Another person said, Narasimha has come into her life at the right time. So this is all lining up because of divine energies and divine support. We're doing this because, this is what Dr. Pillai has asked. And also, Narasimha is facilitating. So step one is going to be identifying that urgent need if you don't already know it. I like to call it like naming your demon. If you have some issue and if you don't name it like it's that, you have less of an association with it. You might even have some denial that it exists. And oftentimes we don't like to confront our issues right head on. It's uncomfortable, but Narasimha wants you to be uncomfortable. So we're going to get uncomfortable and we're going to go into finding what is your most urgent need, at least one of them. Then we will go through the understanding first we'll be identifying that urgent need. Then we will understand the significance of the symbolism of the reenactment. So just like I kind of gave a brief overview today of like how this can be relatable to you in your life, it may look like some very odd, very scary situation. And it looks like a very odd, very scary situation, especially as a Westerner, someone who didn't grow up around Hindu gods or goddesses, or understanding that this is a good thing and not necessarily looking like, some demon possession. Understanding the symbolism, how it relates, and how this Dr. Pillai's mythotherapy can help us. So we'll do that. And then we will we'll do the reenactment. We will actually destroy the demon. We'll give you some ways in which you can make that more real for you at home, really embodying Narasimha. You can have a mask, you could have nails, you can have something to destroy for the demon part. And you'll see that by putting yourself as the being, that something will happen, something will shift. You get out of your rational mind, you get out of your identity of who you are, and you move into the identity of a divine being. That's what we are reenacting. And so no one will see you. It's fine. You don't have to have your camera on. So you can just be alone in your space and experience this, and feel how it shifts you. It'll shift you. Then it's integration. So integrating his energy into your life. And we'll go through, since we're doing 3 days, it's quite, there'll be plenty of time to practice and get better at it, right? As a group, we'll go through, there'll be questions and answers at the end. There'll be sharing. I will also select some chants that are popular with Narasimha. We'll go through some of the words and meanings of those. So in addition to the sacred theater, we'll also be reserving a portion of each session to just get to know him a little bit better. I was reading through one of these chants, and the words are just so touching. And I feel like I get to know him a little bit more every time I read the devotional prayers that others, saints have created for him. So we will do that as well. So that's a bit about what the experiences will be. Did I leave anything out, Mohini?
I think that's good. The dates, people need to know the dates.
Yes, so those dates are May 30th, 31st, and June 1st. And we selected those dates because of their power time significance. The 30th is in the US, 11th moon, Ekadasi, which is the moon for Vishnu. So it's the most powerful moon of the whole month for Vishnu. The next day is Swati star. It starts the Swati star, which is Narasimha's birth star. And then the final day is the 13th moon. And that is, like I said earlier, Dr. Pillai declared that not only, we know typically 13th moon for Pradosham is for Lord Shiva. And Dr. Pillai has also associated with Narasimha because he can remove our karma. He can destroy negativity and shift our karma. So those are the 3 days, and those are why we selected them. So they're at the end of the month. In the meantime, you have plenty of time to be using the tools that we've given today to be connecting with him, to build your relationship with him, so that when you come to the sacred theater, you are ready, right? Like he's been there with you, and you're ready to just join in community and be guided on what to do, and really kind of create the massive shift in your life at this very important time.
And I just wanted to mention that this is so blessed by Dr. Pillai. Gina and I have been talking to him about this program. And every time we mention it, he will immediately say, "Hurr!" And then he gets into Narasimha mode. So if you saw that yourself, maybe sometime we'll show Dr. Pillai becoming Narasimha. But this is a personal practice of his with divine beings, something that he's been a great proponent of. And since Narasimha's energy is so powerful now, Dr. Pillai's energy is propelling this forward. So his energy will be with you as you become overtaken by Narasimha, and Dr. Pillai will guide the process. So it's all very blessed. Do we have any questions in chat? I can't see it myself, but I believe you can, Lakshmi or Jean.
Let me check real quick. Marina said, I witnessed his presence coming through you, meaning me, when we were in Hyderabad. That was another time. And it was so beautiful and loving experience. The room was filled with divine love and people were blessed. That was another time that was really beautiful too. Someone's asking about how to transfer Narasimha's energy from one idol to the next. Dr. Pillai hasn't really given us those instructions. However, worship, just continue to worship your new idol. Is the sacred theater in the Narasimha Premier course, or is it separate? It's separate, Evelyn. So you will receive. So the folks who are already in Dr. Pillai's most recent program, which we're just finishing up tonight, you will receive an email and a discount code to join the sacred theater if that's something you'd like to do. Where do I sign up for this 3-day program? Okay, so I'm hoping that the link is under. Okay, so underneath the video, and it's on the same sales page as Dr. Pillai's original program. And if you scroll all the way down, it'll say Sacred Theater Fundamental, and then it'll also say Sacred Theater Personalized, which means you will receive the Sacred Theater Experience, which is a 3-day program, and an individual Narasimha Homa, a fire lab that'll be performed on your behalf. So it's individual. I won't be performing them, but they'll be performed, I believe, by an Indian priest. Yes, it'll be performed in India. So yes, so that's what we'll be doing. So yeah, the link is below the video. Also below the video is where you can receive the mantra. That's a complimentary, beautiful mantra. Just click on the button and put in your email address, and we'll also keep you updated on any new Narasimha things that we do.
Any other questions?
What is a softer version of Narasimha with Lakshmi on his lap? Is it as powerful? So Lakshmi Narasimha, yeah, so thank you for asking that. One of the things I was going to mention is that there's many forms of Narasimha. They're not all looking like this. There's form of him sitting in meditation. There's form of him with Lakshmi on his lap. In fact, that's the statue that I have. Oops. Okay, and there's another form on the screen of him cuddling the child. And then this is the statue with Lakshmi on his lap. So there's many forms. He's not in a perpetual state of, ferociousness. So you can certainly be praying to those forms as well. And I think that is where you see the more typical aspect of the compassion and love that he has. In the picture that was shown, thank you, Ronnie, shows that. And when I imagine him protecting me, it's more of that just energy that kind of envelops. And it doesn't necessarily mean that he's in a ferocious form all the time, right? Like sometimes you just need a love and compassion in a softer form. So yeah, so you can call upon him and visualize him in any form that you like. Okay, someone's asking to say a prayer as an example. Let me see if I have any other questions before we do that. If you had posted a question, just post it again, because I would not have seen it if it's way up the top. What is the mantra for Narasimha? Just use Narasimha. Narasimha, Narasimha, Narasimha. If you're in a program, you will receive a different mantra from Dr. Pillai. I don't want to give out any of those. So there's just like one sound for is his name. Just continually repeat that. Or the mantra that the Ugram Viram Mahavishnu, the one that Dr. Pillai does, is the link below this video. That's also beautiful. So those are two, the short version and the long version. What is the difference between Narasimha and Karpasamy? Are they both avatars of Vishnu? And then we have an answer that says the fourth avatar of Vishnu is Karpasamy, and the Narasimha is the fourth avatar, Karpasamy is the 10th. Mohini, do you have better insight into that? I understand that Karpasamy has more than just Vishnu energy, that he is many different beings all together. Do you want to expand upon that?
I think that is best left to Dr. Pillai. He'll be making a lot more videos on Karpasamy. He's been going deeply into Karpasamy, who is also one of the key archetypes of the Golden Age. So it's a very ancient tradition from Southern India. So let's leave that to Dr. Pillai.
Okay. Yes.
And truly, like Gina said, the deepest way in order to understand a divine being is to have a personal experience of them. And then you will know the difference between these divine beings when they come to you. And that's just one more thing that I wanted to say. He's actually reaching out to everyone now. So you only need to make a small step forward. And that's the blessing in all of this. Just take a small step, invite him, do the simple things that Gina's been talking about, and he will reveal himself to you and change everything in your life.
Yes, yes. Another example, Katie in our chat said, a few days ago, Lord Narasimha performed an energetic surgery by removing something from my left tonsils with one finger claw. So yeah, another example of him being able to help you. All right, I think I got all of your questions. Where can we get the words of the mantra on SoundCloud? I don't have an answer to that. I know we have a video coming out with the words on it. I believe that's been released. If not, it will be soon. So before we end, someone wanted to do a little prayer. So close your eyes. We call upon Narasimha. First, we call upon Ganesha, Om Gam Ganapate, Namham Gam Ganapate, Nam Gam Ganapate. There are obstacles. Please, Ganesha, remove all the obstacles from everyone watching and listening at this time, allowing Narasimha to come fully through into their lives and protect them in all ways. Om Narasimhaya Namaha. Om Narasimhaya Namaha. Om Narasimhaya Namaha. Lord Narasimha, we ask you to come to the earth plane. Deeply penetrate the lives of those devotees who are coming to you. Allow them to open their hearts to you. Give them the grace to be able to pray to you. Give them the glory of having a beautiful life. Destroy their demons. Destroy their negativity. Narasimha, we ask that you look into our lives, you peer into our mind, you peer into our body, you peer into our soul. And in each of those containers, you remove very specifically every negativity, every demon, every impurity, impurities of the mind, keeping us stuck in egoic identity, impurities of the body, removing all disease, impurities of the soul, removing stubborn karmas, belief systems that have been installed previous lives and this life. We ask you to create a life for us that is fully blessed, blessed with your power, blessed with your energy. As you remove all the impurities, you give us beauty, you give us prosperity, you give us health, you give us loving, fulfilling relationships, and you give us the ability to be compassionate and help create a better world in your name. Om Narasimhaya Namaha, Om Narasimhaya Namaha, Om Narasimhaya Namaha. Lord Narasimha, please bless us to be a conduit of your light. Let us help others and be of service to the world. Om Namah Shivaya. Amen.
Thank you. That's a perfect closing. Anything else you'd like to say as final words?
Final words to get to know Narasimha, to use this time, this pivotal time of shifting into the golden age, to connect with a being who is ultimate compassion, fiercely protective, and can bring you and be your savior, be your Holy Spirit. So now is the time. And if you have any questions, continue to post them in chat. We'll look. And we do invite you to the Sacred Theater so you can kind of embody more of this energy and really use it and make it relatable in your life. So thank you so much for being here. And thank you, Mohini.
Thanks, everyone.